everybody, this is Miss Madeline and I am coming to you today from the Harrison Park Garden. And today we get to talk about and explore the world of soil. We'll get to learn about what soil is made of and how to find out if our soil is healthy. When you think of soil, what do you think is actually in there? What is it made of? There are 4 main components in soil that we're looking for, and the first letter of each of them spells out whammo. So that's your clue. So let's take a second to think to yourself, what do you think is an ingredient in soil? Our first component in soil is very important because the plants get this from the soil, and it is water. Water. Next, we have something that you can't even see, but it is very important to have in the soil because it makes it fluffy. It is air. Whoa, hello. Air. Next, we have something that is made up of teeny tiny pieces of rock, and it starts with an M. What do you think? It's minerals. Minerals. And last but definitely not least is a word that means all of the living things, everything alive or that was just recently alive in the soil, and that is organic matter. Now that we know what soil is made of, we can fill out our pie chart to see how much of each of these components is normally found in the soil. What do you think is the biggest section of our pie chart here? What makes up 45% of the soil? Is it water, air, minerals, or organic matter? The correct answer is minerals. Little tiny rocks make up a good portion of the soil, almost half. The tiny rocks that are in soil are usually different sizes, and we have names for those sizes. Big particles of rock are called sand, slightly smaller is called silt, and the tiniest particles are called clay. So within the minerals part of soil, you will have a mix of sand, silt, and clay. What about the smallest section of our pie chart? What makes up only 5% of normal soil? It is organic matter, our O in whammo. Just because it only makes up 5% though, doesn't mean that organic matter is not important. It might actually be the most important thing in the soil because it means all of the soil is alive. Now, what we have left is half of our pie chart. And the words we have left are water and air. That means that 25% of our soil is usually water and 25% is air. So we've answered our question. Soil is made up of water, air, minerals, and organic matter. It might not always have these exact amounts, but for the most part, you can think of soil as being about half rocks, half air and water, and just a little bit of living things or decomposed things. So we know what soil is made up of now and how much there is of it, but why is soil even important? Why do we care about it? Why do you think soil is important? Soil is where our plants live. Their roots go deep down in the soil to collect water and get nutrients from those minerals. The soil is not only home to plants, it's home to so many living creatures like worms and roly-polies and centipedes and lots of other living things we can't even see without a microscope. So our soil is really important, especially in a garden like this. But how can we tell if our soil is healthy? Healthy enough to grow all our beautiful vegetables and other plants and be full of life? There are some tests we can do and ways to observe our soil to see if it's healthy or if it might need anything to get back in balance. Today I'll be exploring the soil in our garden here by looking at it, smelling it, doing a squeeze test, checking the drainage, looking for living things, and then I'll do a jar test with the soil. You can explore the soil in your own backyard, your neighborhood, or a nearby park. You'll only need a few handfuls to look at. And today, when I'm exploring my soil, I will be taking some field notes in my notebook. You can do this too, and then type in your notes into the worksheet you have in your assignment. When you go out to test for soil health, there's some things you might want to bring with you, like a trowel, some gloves, a notebook, a jar, and something with water in it. First thing we're looking for in the soil is what color it is. Usually with soil, the healthier it is, the darker in color it is. Also, for each of these categories, I'm going to give my soil a score, either 0, 1, or 2 points. If it's really good, I'll be giving it 2 points. How does the color of this soil look? Do you think it's pretty dark, or is it kind of pale? I'm thinking this soil is a pretty nice, rich, dark brown color. So I'm going to give it a full 2 points. If your soil is lighter than this, then you might give it 1 point or even 0. Next is my favorite test. We're going to smell the soil and see how it smells. Ooh, it's nice and earthy. It smells like mushrooms. It smells fresh. It doesn't smell like rotten. It doesn't smell gross at all. It smells really nice. Next is the squeeze test. So I'm going to squeeze this handful of soil and see if it forms a ball without breaking apart too easily. Whoa, look at that! I've got a nice ball here. If soil was too dry, it would just crumble apart in my hand and not form a ball at all. So the squeeze test helps us see that the soil has a nice healthy level of water in it. So my water mostly drained all the way through within 30 seconds, but it was pretty slow. So I'm gonna give my soil a 1 out of 2 points for drainage. Our last test is looking for living things. I just found all these worms in my soil, and I also saw a centipede a little bit ago. So that's showing me that there are a lot of living things in here. I totaled up all of my points, and my soil got 9 out of 10 points. So that means it's pretty healthy. We've got really good soil here, and we don't need to do much to it, which is awesome. The last test we'll do to explore our soil health is called the jar test. This will help us see how much of each of those soil particles is in our soil, the sand, silt, and clay. Be careful not to add any worms or other living things to your jar. It's also a good idea to get the soil from below the surface. You don't just want to take off the very top layer. After a week, come back to your jar and you'll see 3 distinct layers. The sand will settle down first because it's heavier, so the bottom will be sand, then you'll have silt and clay on top. And that way you can see how much of each you have. Thanks for joining me today to learn about soil, and I hope you have fun exploring the soil nearby where you live to see if it's healthy. If you want to send me any photos of what you discovered, you can email them to me at mmiller@growportland.org. See you next time.